Right, morning everybody. This is called the myth of the dipstick. As you may know, obviously Volvo owners, you may have come across when you pull your dipstick out, you've got all this white gunk all up and down the dipstick. It always happens. I've heard people using it as a bargaining point to say that the head gasket's gone, or the head gasket started to go, so someone selling the car may not know this. Someone pulls the dipstick out, a potential buyer that comes along and says, no, we're going to have to drop the price because it looks like the head gasket's on its way out. Well, that is not the case. 99% of the times, that is not the case. It is because condensation builds up where the dipstick actually gets inserted. So when you put the dipstick in, and then you pull that back out like that, you get all that white gunk come up on the dipstick. I mean, we've done our best to try and clear this one out as best we can. So the reason for that is you've got the cold air coming from this side where the radiators are being blown onto the dipstick tube, and then you've got the hot side of the engine. So obviously hot and cold creates condensation. Condensation gets in the dipstick tube, and that's where you get all that white gunk from. So 99.9% of the time you haven't got a head gasket problem. So don't let someone come around and use it as a bargaining point to try and knock you down. Or if you get frightened by the fact and someone says, oh, it's your head gasket gone, it's going to cost you hundreds to get it done. That is not the case. What you need to do is to look inside up here, suspect your head gasket, and all that white gunk will be all round inside here and inside the rockers in there. That's basically a suspected head gasket, and also that's not necessarily a head gasket. That might be just because you've been using the car on short journeys. That sort of stuff tends to build up because it can't burn off. So you've got the condensation inside there. It's always building up because the engine's not getting that hot. So if you're doing short journeys, you can also get a little bit of white gunk inside where this top is and inside there. It's not really a cause of concern, but the age of these cars these days, do your oil change once a year like you should do, really. I know the manual says something different, but they ain't new cars anymore. So if you do a regular oil change and filter change, definitely a filter change, that eliminates a lot of that. Head gaskets, if the head gasket's going to go, normally this will pressurise up. That will really expand, and you'll know that's pressurised up. You can probably hear it as well. A lot of the time the top cracks here because of the pressure, or the seams around the side, they crack because this expansion bowl is so full of pressure, it's got to go somewhere. It normally does blow these expansion bowls. So if you're losing water and the car's overheating very quickly or warming up very quickly, going over halfway, all these Volvos should run about halfway on the gauge. If it's going up over halfway and you're losing water, possibly a head gasket, not all the time, you could have a leak somewhere else. But it's a telltale sign that's pressurised up. I'm probably just going to blow the seals like I just said, and you'll get, or you could get, plenty of white gunk inside this cap due to the head gasket, which is the water leaking inside, mixing with the oil, and that's where the white gunk comes from. But as opposed to the dipstick, like where I first said, don't be frightened and don't be fooled if someone comes around and says to you, oh, the car's not worth it because the head gasket's going. So just a point to note. So yeah, keep that in mind.